All right, and welcome back to the Paisan Sports podcast presented by Elevation 5280 Sports. Dante DePlacido, joined as always by Zach Deal of What's the Deal Sports. So I've got to ask, what's the deal with Philly sports? All of it, might I add, and not even just one team. No, all of the teams. What's the deal with them? Right, the Eagles.
Well,
They've
let's slow it down.
don't interrupt my what's the
Ah,
deal.
here we go. Here we go
Do
with
not don't you ever interrupt my what's the deal segment,
here we go.
okay? You had the Eagles who dropped two in a row. Their last loss coming against the New York Giants. Okay. You have the Philadelphia 76ers losing all of their preseason games so far. Granted, there's a lot of injuries, but that's also the big problem with the Philadelphia 76ers. You have the Flyers who haven't won yet. And I don't
Ah,
consider
here
this
we go.
Philly
Don't
school.
interrupt me. I
Hold
need to
on,
bring up the
hold
Flyers.
on, hold on. I don't consider this a Philly school, but a lot of people have been mentioning them on the posts about all these Philly teams losing. I'm not even a fan of this team, but I do stick by the moniker of if
Ah,
you
here we
are
go. Bringing up
mentioned,
Penn State.
hold on. If you are mentioned in the Rally House commercial,
Oh
right?
my God.
If Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Villanova, Penn State, something, don't be late. If you're mentioned in the Rally House jingle commercial, then there is some weight to you being a Philly school. So you also have to look at Penn State, who's dropped three in a row. Drew Allar is out for the season. James
Alar.
Franklin was just fired. And to top it all off, the team we're going to talk about right now, the Philadelphia Phillies, who seemed like they had some good hope heading into the postseason, had basically the same exact postseason they did a year ago. I mean, what is going on?
Well, all I was gonna do, I wasn't gonna cut you off. I was just gonna chain and build off what you said. I was gonna bring up when is another time you could remember when like all facets of Philadelphia sports hit in a negative way like this. Because it's
I
happened
can't think
before.
of a time. I can't think of a time. No,
I'm trying to
I've
think
got
of
nothing. The only thing really I can think of is in 2022 when the Phillies and the Union both lost the same night, but that wasn't
I
just
mean
a culmination of
2018 when we
every team playing like shit all at once.
2018 after the Eagles won the Super Bowl the prior year and then had that season, and then the Sixers had the season that they had, and then the Phillies were like transitioning and still hadn't made the playoffs in how many years. That was definitely a tough year.
Yeah, but there definitely wasn't like a 1 week stretch where every team I don't think there's been a single the only win in Philly sports over the past week was the Phillies game 3 victory. Everything else was a loss, and there's been a lot of games. So it's bad right now. It's bad. Hey,
Um,
what number does David Montgomery wear?
David Montgomery, number 5.
Okay. Um,
But
I
yeah,
need
now
him to
we're
lead
talking
my
about the
defense.
Phillies here.
All
So
right,
they
all right.
lose.
Hey.
They lose 2-1. Your boy makes the crucial error. Your guy. I didn't want to pound you after the loss. Pause. But I knew you were going to be really upset because that is your guy you're defended, and you know how I feel about him, and I brought him up. So here, defend your guy or do whatever you have to do. But what happened on that play?
Listen, well, now
And you
Orion
know
Kirkering,
exactly what play I'm referencing
obviously,
too. You know exactly what play I'm
obviously,
referencing too.
yeah, obviously Orion Kirkering had a very easy out at first, and instead fired the ball at home to where one he was not going to get the runner, but two, had he at least made an accurate throw that was caught by JT, the runner missed the bag. So he actually would have had the runner
I know.
had he
Did you?
made
I
the throw.
yeah. You saw the. I mean, you probably saw it. I didn't have to send it to you, but I think I sent it to you. He overran the bag and then he went back and touched it. But
Yeah.
if the Phillies would have noticed, I mean, they couldn't they have challenged it and won that
I well
challenge?
no, because he went back and touched it.
So JT would have had to
But my
saw him
point
and
is,
tagged him when he was coming back.
had he made an accurate throw, despite making the wrong decision, he still would have gotten the out. So that's my
What was your
point.
initial
Not
reaction when
only
that
not
happened?
only did he make the wrong decision, but he also whiffed on the throw, right? Obviously, it was a huge mess up by Ryan Kirkering that lost the Phillies the game. But I will also say, it seems like he just full on panicked, and that's not like necessarily an excuse. You can't panic. But he did just full on panic. But the biggest thing is we should have not even been in that situation to begin with for two reasons. One, the offense should have put up more than one run long before that half inning. And two, we should have won the game 1-0 because we should not have walked the 1-for-17 Shohei Ohtani and then ended up walking and run the following batter. I think that is what really lost us the game was walking Ohtani. It was a boneheaded move.
I thought also one of those plays that Trey could have made the play if he like moved a split second earlier on that one play that the ball got hit up into the gap that allowed the runner to get to third. I thought he could have made that play if he moved a little bit, but Kirkering definitely like threw like a sidearm ball to the plate. My initial reaction on that play when the bases were loaded, the dribbler back to the mound. I thought right as the play happened and they lost the game, I was like, I need to see that back because I wanted to see where the runner was. And Andy Pajes was literally looking back at Kirkering like 40% up the baseline. He would have easily been thrown out. He could have easily made that play, but he just didn't make that play. So that's what sucks. But this is just like it's just like the same stuff over and over with this Phillies team. They can't get over the hump. And you know what else was my initial reaction? So I was like, I need to see that back. And then when I saw it back, I was like, oh, he could have easily made that play because Pajes was like looking back at him. And then I was like, wow. JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Jose Alvarado, Ranger Suarez, and Harrison Bader are now all free agents.
Yeah. I listen. I think it's time for a change. I think number one, Topper's got to go. He's got to go. I think
you know how I felt about him forever, and I'm not like trying to pound in on him because it wasn't like solely his fault throughout this entire series.
No,
like,
it wasn't solely his fault. The offense.
It's always the same old offensive like issues, regardless of what players. The base nucleus of the team just doesn't come through.
Listen, the offense obviously was a huge issue all series long, but so was Rob Thompson. And just because all of the blame can't go on Rob Thompson doesn't mean what just happened. Where did Zach go?
You're good. I gotta run real quick to the bathroom, but you're good. I just put you on the solo thing.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway, as I was gonna say, just because you can't put all of the blame on Rob Thompson doesn't mean you can't put blame on him. Doesn't mean it's not time for him to go. Why? He has to be the only reason they lost this series. If anybody else screwed up, that saves Rob Thompson's job. That doesn't make any sense. He needs to go. Listen, the Dodgers played like crap all series. The manager did a terrible job all series. But Rob Thompson and the Phillies did even worse. This is a very winnable series. The 2022 Phillies probably win this series 2-1, if I'm being honest. The 08 Phillies, probably the same. They weren't that dominant of a team. They kind of just had I don't want to call it a miracle run, just a great run. But at any rate, the Phillies really, this series was lost by the Phillies. The Dodgers didn't beat them. Well, I mean, obviously they did, but they didn't lose because the Dodgers were just too good. They lost because they just did terrible. And Topper did a terrible job managing. And after 4 years in a row of not being able to get over the hump, it's probably time for him to go, especially when you consider all the mistakes he made during the series, like walking Shohei Ohtani, like having Bryson Stott bunt when there was a runner on second with, I remember, it was no outs. Yeah, it was no outs. That really screwed us. Leaving Christopher Sanchez in for too long in game one. There's so many mistakes this series really could have went a whole different way, but it didn't. And Copper's a big part to blame. Of course, so is the offense. Yeah, they're a big part to blame as well. And that's why the next thing I was going to say is it's time to revamp this roster a bit. Costy's gone. Get rid of him. Brandon, get rid of him. Alec Boehm, I say get rid of him. And you can counter argue, like Boehm or Marsh. Well, they started playing better the second half of the year. They do this well, they do that well, blah, 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 blah. Listen, outside of Castellanos, you could make a case for just about anybody on this roster staying on the roster, right? These guys do just well enough to where you can make a case for keeping them. But that's the problem. This is year 4 in a row of this guy having a case to stay on the roster, so he stays on the roster.
Well, who's the
good
issue,
enough
bro?
to stay on the roster, but this roster isn't good enough to get it done in the postseason. So
Bro,
you gotta
you
say
say
the hell with
you're
all
the
of
one.
it and revamp it.
You're the one that always says they don't need to do anything crazy. I was saying last year, who did I want in free agency? I said 2 guys' names. Who did I want? Be
I
honest.
wanted Soto.
Yeah, we both wanted Soto. Who else did I want? I brought his name up how many times, and you said we're straight at that position. And you just said
Alex, was it Alex Bregman?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you said no, Alec Boehm's fine. He's an all-star. And then it's the same thing every year in crucial time. What did he do when we needed him most in the 4-hole? Pretty much nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And what happened?
Yeah.
How many times in the series? What was the number one moment? As much as I like him as a person, but who was the number one guy that got crunched in all the crucial moments of the series? Was it not Brandon Marsh getting caught with the bases loaded with 2 outs how many times in the series and just not being able to come through on left-handed pitching? It's the same story.
And that's what I'm saying is, all these guys that have like performed well enough to stick around but can't get done the postseason, they all got to go.
So what would you? I like a guys like I would like to bring in like Kyle Tucker, a Cody Bellinger, somebody like that. I think they actually need like a fresh to the.
Here's what I think.
Also, real quickly, while I'm just talking about it, while I can bring it up, I don't think Kyle Schwarber is good enough to bat that high in the order. And what do you think about him? I think he's very important to bring back. But then again, he's batting 240 and he can't be batting in the 2-hole because he just doesn't come through enough consistently.
No, I've always thought he should. I've always thought since he got here, he should be the cleanup hitter. It's this new way of thinking with baseball that I just don't agree with. I think Kyle Schwarber needs to be your cleanup hitter. But what was that? Oh yeah, here's what I think the Phillies need to do or should do. Right? Like in 2022 and 2023, you brought in all this talent, right? You brought in Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos and Trey Turner. And even in 2018, you bring in Harper and JT Realmuto. You bring in Zach Wheeler. You bring in all these guys, right? And it gets you into the postseason, but it doesn't get you a World Series. So instead of getting rid of all these guys and bringing in more guys, what I would rather them do is get rid of a bunch of guys. And if other free agents or trades can fall into their lap where it's like, this is a deal that really makes sense, or this is a young guy that we can bring in, then go ahead and do it. But don't reach for it and instead promote from within. And if this team isn't good enough to make the postseason that way, then so be it. Right. But it's time to, I don't know. It's time to just do something different.
Well, they have the same tendency and same issues and the same moments. Bryce does hero ball. One was the count. I think it was in game 4, wasn't it? When Bryce was up 3-0 in the count and he swings at the 3-0 pitch and then he fouls off a 3-1 pitch and then now he's in a 3-2 count and then he grounds out to end the inning when he was up 3-0 in the count. And he always is trying to do hero ball. And then Castellanos getting thrown out in the bunting in the sacrifice situation.
But if I remember correctly, I think it was a 2-out spaces open situation where, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but I always believe in those situations, a walk is going to do nothing. So you might as well swing on a 3-0. But
Brandon
no,
Marsh got
Harper
caught.
simply wasn't. But overall, Harper simply wasn't good enough this series, and nobody was. Nobody
Yeah,
was,
for
and this
sure.
is the second series in a row
Well,
where
they had the one
nobody
game.
was good
They had the
enough.
one game that they did good. I think it was game 2 when they were like 7 for 13 at the top of the order. But
Game three, yeah, game
yeah,
three.
but
Game
when it
three was
mattered
the only
most,
good game. Schwarber hit 2 home runs, and
yeah, when it
yeah,
mattered
but I'm
most.
sorry, you can't just have one good game. Two total in the past two postseasons. Last year it was game 2 that they did well. This year it was game 3. You can't
You
just
know
have
what hurt
two
the
good
most
games.
too?
What's that?
That do you know you know how the Blue Jays made it to the championship series?
Yeah.
You know who they used as pitching to get them to the championship series?
Hoffman?
It was Sir Anthony Dominguez and then Hoffman to close it out to get to the championship series.
Yeah. Meanwhile, our bullpen didn't perform the best this
And we just let those
postseason.
two guys just slip through.
And it's the second postseason in a row where the starting pitching was tremendous. And not only was the starting pitching tremendous, I mean, we didn't allow Shohei to do literally anything the entire series. And,
I know
what a
we
waste
lost the
that
game
is.
when he was 0 for 5 at the plate. That's what really disturbed me. That's what I was really upset about. I think we talked about that last podcast because that was game 1, I think. But it was really
It's a
disturbing
total
losing that game.
waste. It's a total waste when you have a team that has the
Well,
best
Topper doesn't
player
get the
in
most out of him.
baseball. Yeah, no, he's got to go. Topper's got to go, man. It's done. It's done. It's over with Topper. He's got to go. A lot of guys on this roster have got to go. Bring up guys from the minors. Bring up.
Do you think Crawford's automatically up in the outfield this offseason? And do you
I
think that
think, yeah.
affects
I
who they
mean,
bring
yeah.
back in there?
I think Kepler. First of all, I think anyone in this outfield has a case for leaving. Right? Talk about guys.
Well,
in a case
I
for
think this is the best way. The best way would be bring Crawford up and get Kepler and Marsh out of the mix, and then go from there. And then Castellanos will probably be gone. But you would have Crawford try and bring back Bader, and
I would love to bring back Bader, but listen, in the majors, seeing significant playing time, I think it should be Justin Crawford. I think it should be Otto Kemp. I think it should be Aiden Miller. I think it should be Andrew Painter.
Well, I was going to ask. I was going to ask. Would you try to open like a straight up position for Otto Kemp, or would you just try and have him as like a Edmundo Sosa utility guy that kind of just fills in every other day for like a different position?
It depends entirely. It depends on if you keep Bohm.
What position?
It depends on how many guys from the outfield you get rid of because you could always play left field.
Well, you owe an apology. You saw what I texted you the other day. You owe an apology to JT.
Why?
Because he was balling.
All right. We still lost the series. I'm not issuing apologies to any players when we.
Well, would you bring JT back with the way that he was playing at the end of the season?
I would bring him back on a team-friendly deal, especially because we have nobody else at catcher. If we saw Eduardo Tate, I would say maybe not.
That's
maybe let rock with Marchand for a year and then Eduardo Tate, but that's the thing. That's the thing. I want all these young guys. I want them up in the majors. I want all these other guys who haven't panned out. I want them gone. And I don't want to hear, oh, well, you can't trust a bunch of young guys to get it done. I don't care if they get it done or not. This is a year, in my opinion, to regroup, develop young talent, and see what you have. That, in my opinion,
I think regardless of what you do,
the quest for a title is either gone or it's on pause this upcoming year because it ain't happening.
I think regardless of what you do, if you don't want a playoff series, that you got to the same point as every other team in the league that didn't do that as well. Regardless of like if you have a first round bye in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't matter. Instead of letting all these guys waste away in the minors so that you can have these guys up in the majors that don't perform in the postseason, get rid of them and let your young talent develop in the majors.
What position would you invest in? If you bring back JT, realistically, I I know you love Schwarber, but who would you bring back if you had to choose between JT and Schwarber? Who would you realistically bring back? JT on a
Oh,
friendly
Schwarber.
contract or Schwarber on a big deal?
Schwarber on a big deal. Despite everything I've just said, Schwarber on a big deal.
You love him a little bit too much. Like you're like not willing to criticize and realize that like he has like major issues.
No. Listen, I'm willing to criticize him, but I just think when you have a guy who mashes 40 plus homers every season as a Philly, you can't just get rid of that.
I understand, but he just like, I mean, I know he had the 2-run home run game in the playoffs, but other than that, he was horrific the entire series.
Yeah, but so was everyone.
But
That's
he's
my
been in
other
the 2 hole and like
they were all bad. They were all bad.
What type of manager would they need if they got rid of Topper? I feel like they would already fired him like the day after they lost that series. If that was the case, maybe they'll still do it. As the Mariners Cal Raleigh just hit a home run in Game 1 of the championship series in the top of the 6th to tie the game, 420 feet, 1-1. Also on baseball, real quickly, while we're talking about other teams, we'll get back to the Phillies. 15 innings the other day.
Yeah, I saw that
Friday night.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I saw that happen.
Yeah, that was insane. But what with those 5 free agents that I just mentioned, who would you like? How do you go about it? You can't bring back all 5. That's not realistic. So don't even tell that to me.
No.
But how would you go about it?
So wait, so the 5 being Ranger,
it's JT
Bader,
Schwarber,
JT Schwarber,
Ranger.
and who's the 5th?
Ranger, Jose Alvarado, and Harrison Bader.
Oh, Jose. Out of those 5, if I had to choose, that's tough, man. That's because I would ideally like to bring. I mean, out of all the guys I want them to get rid of, none of them are any of those 5 guys. I would like all of them to remain as Philadelphia Phillies. And I do think it would be more realistic to keep them if you get rid of the other guys. So I don't know, man. That's tough.
Insane. That's insane. I just told you that's not realistic, bro. You know that's not realistic. You know
I know it's not. That's why I'm saying, and I can't choose between the 5.
Choose between them, bro. Why do you always make it so homer based? Like I can't do that.
No, it's not
like,
homer based. I just can't decide.
Every time I try and make a thing up, you're like, I make 2 players. You're like, oh, I love them so much, both of them. Like, bro, pick. It's realistic.
I would get rid of Bader and JT Bader and JT gone.
So Ranger, Schwarber, and Jose. I feel like that's fair enough. I would probably honestly, even though like you know how I feel about all those 5 players together, I probably honestly that would be probably the best route to go. I like Harrison Bader a lot, and I like JT, and I think he's still balling. I think JT's low key really important to the team's clubhouse. JT and Schwarber are definitely the 2 most important guys to the clubhouse, but I love the idea of Jose Alvarado and Johan Duran coming out of my bullpen as the last 2 guys in a playoff series, left-handed and right-handed.
Well, so, my thing is the whole reason why it's tough to get rid of JT isn't because I love JT. It's because we have no one else at catcher, right? But the other guys, and the reason why I say Bader is because I'm not when you have all those players to keep, I'm not going to make a decision to keep Bader over any of them just because of how great he played after the.
We also have Justin Crawford, who is an outfielder
sample size. Yeah, and you have Justin Crawford, you have Otto Kemp who can play the outfield.
Because you could
but Jose Alvarado, I'll say the reason why I don't want to get rid of Jose Alvarado is because I'm tired of losing relievers and trying to rebuild the bullpen from scratch every single year. So that's why I don't want to get rid of Alvarado. I don't want to get rid of Ranger because I mean, he's just he's a great starter. I just don't want to get rid of that. And Schwarber, I already said why I don't want to get rid of Schwarber. So that's my reasoning.
Yeah, but that's just not realistic. So
also Ranger, he performs in the postseason every single time. So
yeah, I really liked how they went that game with Nola 2 innings and then Ranger long armed it. I really liked that approach from there.
But yeah, and it worked out really well actually, and it was smart too because usually Nola implodes in the 3rd or 4th inning. So yeah,
you know it was horrible. You know it was really horrible. that Brandon Marsh automatic 1 strike.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
That was horrible.
that hurt. Yeah.
That hurt really bad. That was in a big moment too. But what
Yeah.
type of manager, if they do get rid of Thompson, do you think they need?
I don't know, man. They've had every different type of manager since Charlie left, and none of them have worked out. So honestly, I have no freaking clue. I mean, they had the exact opposite of Rob Thompson. That was Gabe
Well, you
Kepler.
saw, isn't Pujols becoming the Cardinals manager?
I did not see that. I didn't
I
even know
think I
that.
sent that to you. Do they need like Jim Tomey up in the locker room or somebody like that?
Well, I saw a lot of people online saying they want Jimmy Rollins. That would definitely be interesting. I would be down for that, but I doubt that would happen.
Do you think stuff like that works personally?
Um,
Because the Flyers did that with I mean, this is when we can actually mix the Flyers in. The Flyers have been diving into like the old player bag to like rejuvenate some like energy to the team. The Sixers
I
have done it with like guys like Doug Collins before.
Mo Williams.
Yeah, Mo
I mean,
Williams,
not Mo Williams, Mo Cheeks. Mo
Mo
Cheeks.
Cheeks, yeah, Maurice Cheeks.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that with Mo Cheeks. That didn't work out. He was
Willie
only here
Green,
for a
the
year.
former Sixers a coach, but just not for the Sixers. But yeah, it's like some old players.
Deuce Staley as a running backs coach. That worked out for a long
Yeah, I
time with the
remember when the
Eagles.
Eagles like were looking for a coach. Everyone was trying to get Brian Dawkins as a coach, and this, that, the other. So, but I wonder. I feel like the old player is really prominent in like baseball and basketball and like hockey, of like those guys becoming like a coach again. So maybe that's the approach they go. But I don't know. I feel like they're gonna try and not blame it on Thompson. I feel like they're gonna try to retain those guys, but it's not realistic. They're gonna retain all 5 of those guys. So but they're gonna have to do some digging. I feel like 2 guys that really have to evaluate. I think they're gonna have to make a decision between keeping Bryson Stott or Alec Boehm. I don't think they can keep both of them. I think they have to trade one of them while the
Or
player
both.
value is.
Or get rid of both of them,
Yeah, I
man.
wouldn't even be
And
opposed.
rock
But
with
just,
Aiden
I
Miller and
think
Otto
keeping both.
Kemper
I
next
think
year.
keeping both is not worth it. I'd be down for getting rid of both, but I don't think they can keep both.
It really is a shame that all of the good players that we want to keep are on expiring deals, and all the guys we want to get rid of are still under. It really is a shame how it's shaking out.
At least we got Johan Duran. I mean, hopefully Bryce can actually have a healthy season. Um, Not sure what will happen with Costume. Maybe he survives just based off of them losing other guys in the outfield and him still being on a contract. Um, I think I mean, you saw the video of Schwarber crying when talking about his last potential game as a Philly. There's a chance he's.
I did not watch that video. I didn't watch anything after that game ended. I haven't watched anything.
Yeah, there's a video of Kyle Schwarber talking about his last potential game with the Phillies, and he was crying about it. So there's a good chance that he's no longer a Philly. The teams are going to be throwing
Yeah,
money
no,
around.
there's a very good chance, and
Teams are
I
going to be
really
throwing
do
money
hope that
around for a
comes
guy
back.
that hit 56 home runs. A lot of teams could use that and will put him in the 4-hole in the right lineup in the right spot, not the 2-hole where he's not going to be utilized correctly like the Phillies do. So they'll see value in him and do that, and maybe he'll feel more comfortable in a role like that.
Yeah.
Real quickly
Yeah,
before
we'll
we
see.
move on to like Eagles, it's early in the process. We'll talk about it more as more of the playoffs because there's 4 teams still playing. But we mentioned some free agents like Cody Bellinger and stuff. I just want to look up some available free agents. So JT, Salvador Perez, catchers I'm listing. I'm going to list some guys that we may know. Danny Jansen, James McCann, Gary Sanchez, Mitch Garver, Martin Maldonado. Pete Alonso is going to be back in free agency. I know we didn't do that last offseason. Then he had a phenomenal year this year. Would you dip into the Pete Alonso bag now, Dante, or are you still heating?
I don't really care about free agency. That's the thing. I just want to get rid of people. Like I don't really
Well,
like.
I'm
I'm
gonna name some
exhausted
guys. Right,
from.
right.
I'm
Uh,
exhausted. I'm exhausted from bringing in talent, discussing bringing in talent. None of it works out. We don't win.
so what? You
I
want to
just
anoint? You want to see what the young talent from within can do?
no.
As the Seattle Mariners have
Let me
just took the
clarify.
lead.
Let me clarify. Stop. No, that's not what I'm saying. So let me clarify. Like I said earlier, either, bottom line is they got to get rid of guys, right? Now, if you bring in talent and you don't force it, it just works out and you're able to bring some people in, great. If not, also great, right? So I'm not saying I don't want to bring anybody in, but I am mentally, emotionally exhausted from, who should they add this offseason? Who should they add this deadline? They don't bring anyone in. They don't make a trade for anybody, or they do bring somebody in, but he stinks. I'm mentally exhausted from the conversation of it. And the other thing on top of that, the other thing is I really want them to get rid of guys. So I'm just so much more focused on hopefully they get rid of people than hopefully they bring in people. So that's just where I'm at right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, let's get into the meatball of the week so we can talk some football.
Yeah. And my meatball of
Yo,
the week.
whoa.
Whoa.
You're like grunting and moaning over there. So you might meatball of the week.
Yeah, I was stretching my back. My meatball of the week. I'm just gonna go with another meatball trio. But this is just a mini trio, a trio of mini meatballs because I don't know, there wasn't any big meatballs this week. At least I didn't feel like, other than Kirkering, but I can't make him the meatball of the week in my heart of hearts. So my first meatball of the week is Cam Ward, because the spirit of Will Levis is living on in the body of Cam Ward. Okay. I don't know if you saw him drop back to throw and he cocked his arm back and he just dropped the football and he fumbled it. But that meatball of the week
That was
worthy.
the
The
Jameis
other
Winston Florida State special back in the day. Remember he did that in the national championship
I
versus
don't
Oregon?
recall that. I do not. My other meatball of the week is Justin Fields. Just because he was just really, really bad. Negative marks. I haven't had a chance to actually check the box score, but that's what I've heard. So I'm just gonna stick with it and roll with it. So he's my other meatball of the week. My third meatball or meatballs of the week. Just Penn State. They've been such a train wreck, and now they fired James Franklin, who's been there a long time. So Penn State and also James Franklin is the third meatballs of the week. So those are my meatballs.
All right, I like that. I think I sent you today. I thought you were to steer it near here. Did you see two Colts players couldn't play today because of injuries and warm-ups?
I didn't see that.
Anthony Richardson and Shadavius Ward.
Yo, speaking of the Colts, man, what are they, 5-1 now?
Yeah,
And the
Daniel
thing
Jones
is,
is
Daniel
actually good.
Jones has been good. He's been good. He hasn't been like elite. He hasn't been phenomenal, but
No, today I watched the game today. He was actually ripping the ball. Like the spirals were actually nice. He was actually ripping the ball. He's playing
yeah, I
ball.
guess
I
it
mean,
just really shows how bad
even if he's
the
not
New
doing
York
anything too
Giants
crazy,
are.
for you to be 5-1 and
But
have
also though, I mean, Jackson Dart looks pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie.
what
So
about
I
Cam
don't know,
Scatterbo?
man. Jackson Dart's looking good.
What about Cam Scatterbo?
Cam Scatterbo looks great.
Cam Scatterbo is literally built like
Yeah, he
me.
looks great. Jackson Dart looks great. I think, honestly, ever since Jackson Dart took over Russell Wilson, I think this is a decent Giants team. And dare I say, they might be the second best team in the NFC
I
East.
was gonna say, didn't I ask you before the season who the second biggest threat to the Eagle or the first biggest threat to the Eagles would be if it would still be Washington? And obviously, Jaden Daniels has been hurt, but he's going to be back tomorrow night because there's a doubleheader on Monday Night Football for Week 6, and he'll be back for one of the games. He's one of the Monday
I
night
don't like
games
all
playing.
these Monday night doubleheaders. I don't like
And
all the
all the
Monday
London
night
games
double.
too. There's a London game like every morning for like
And,
every
and there's a morning game every week too.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
That's what
also a
I'm saying.
morning game every week. It's too much. It's too much.
No, I
It's too
like it.
much.
I kind of like it. I like it.
Yeah, too much. Too much.
But Eagles, back-to-back losses, 2 losses in 4 days. What's going on with the Eagles?
Yeah. Well, one, injuries, right? We can't ignore that. We can't ignore how much they missed Jalen Carter out there. We can't
Even though he's
ignore
been asked this year anyway.
we can't ignore having to, what's his name? Keely Ringo got benched against the Giants, but then what's his name got hurt and he had to go back out there, right? So I mean the secondary's banged up. Nolan Smith is out and the pass rush looks terrible,
The pass
right?
rush has been terrible all season long with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in there anyway.
Yeah, but it
The
makes
most
it
they're
worse
getting,
when they're
the
gone.
most
It's
they're
even
getting in
worse
one
when they're
game,
gone.
the most they're getting in one game is like 2 sacks.
Also, Makuba looks terrible
And they
now.
can't
He
stop the
looked
run.
great at first, but now he looks bad. That's another issue.
They can't stop the run up the middle.
Landon
Zach,
Dickerson being out is an issue. Brett Toth
they're
stinks.
definitely not as physical. They don't have the physicality identity that they used to have with running the ball. Saquon's averaging like under 4 yards per carry. And this particular Thursday, this was the worst I think Zach Bond's looked since he's been an Eagle.
And obviously, the most obvious, the play calling. It feels like Kevin Patullo has like a couple of good drives and then just doesn't know what he's doing the rest of the time. And it
Yeah,
feels
it's
like
the
every
tail.
time
Like
there's a big
they look
play,
like
every time there's a big play, usually Jalen Hurts calls it. So
it looks like
um,
they're two different teams like every other half.
yeah. Yeah. So
But they
a
had
lot of
like
issues with this
the
team,
two
man.
things that
But I hope sorry, go ahead.
the two things that they're always good at that they're just not doing anymore that I think is the big reason why they're caught with like having no confidence and lacking an identity is they have a horrible pass rush and they can't run the ball. It's two things
Yeah.
that like is the identity of the history of all of Eagles football. That's what's
Yeah,
two things they've
I mean,
always
you're
done.
absolutely right. Every time there's a great Eagles team, they're
They
great
run
at
the
running the
shit out of the
ball
ball and they
and
sack the
rushing the
quarterback.
passer. But let's not ignore we did have a great play made by Zadarius Smith that was taken away on the quarterback. Or was that against the Broncos? You know what? I'm starting to lump these two horrible losses together in my brain now that I think about it. Might have been against the play by Zadarius Smith when the QB got rid of the ball at the last second and they picked up the flag for intentional grounding when it should have been intentional
I think that
grounding.
was the Broncos game.
I think it was the Broncos game. You might be right. Zadarius Smith has been our only good pass rusher, by the way, might I add. But also, I will say not to like be complaining or anything, but I will say, I mean, the refs did play a part in the loss against the Giants. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, they also lost by 17 points, bro, in 3 possessions. So,
so maybe that was the Broncos game I'm thinking of. What was the game where the guy was fighting for extra yardage and then Zach Bond came in and they threw the flag?
that was the Broncos game, bro.
Oh my God! Yeah, no. So it was the Broncos, right? Okay, so the refs
They
did
played
not play
2 games in
factor
4
into the
days,
Giants.
bro.
Yeah. I've kind of lumped them both together in my
They're not
mind.
that really that confusing because one was on the
No.
road and
What
one was at
actually
home.
really hurt them in the Giants game, they had a chance to get back in it, and then it was AJ Dillon who fumbled, and that kind of put the nail in the coffin. So that really hurt. AJ Dillon fumbling. That was a big screw up.
Their offensive line's not that good. As
No.
advertised, they're definitely not the best offensive
No.
line in the league, and they're not even close to it anymore. They had the talent to be that again, but I think just being banged up, and I think losing Mekhi Becton is actually kind of showing his colors, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. I think I think
It's not
there's
like it's that big of a deal. It's not like they can't win without him, and it's drastic. But I think if everybody was healthy and he was still in their lineup, I think they would be as dominant as they were last year. They can't run the ball the same way that they do. Like, it's just not a thing anymore.
But I do think a big part of it is they're not effectively passing the ball to open up the run. I think that is a big
No, I
contributing
don't think it's
factor.
not. It's not that they're not effectively passing the ball. They're not effectively balancing the run and pass and
Yeah,
establishing both
yeah,
at the
or
same
that,
time.
if you want to put it
They
that
only
way.
do
Yeah,
one or the other. They only do one or the other.
yeah. No, it's been bad. It's been bad. I do want to talk though about, I think this loss comes at a good time where it's not okay. Now you have a bye week, but now you do have some extra time off considering it was a Thursday night game. So hopefully that'll help get them back on track. That'll help get them a bit more healthy and get back on track. And I do wonder which quarterback they face next week. Is it to be Wentz? Are we facing Wentz, or is JJ McCarthy still expected to return? I have no idea actually.
I'm not sure. I think we have to wait to see what the case is with
I
that.
and I also wonder if JJ McCarthy is ready to return with the
I
verdict
don't think it
is.
really matters. I don't think there's any like storyline we need to play out with Carson Wentz being the former quarterback and like him and Wentz. I think the Eagles have lost 2 games and they need to just figure it the fuck out, honestly. And they need to
No,
focus
I'm
on
not saying any of that. I'm just saying I think it would be fun to watch us go up against Carson Wentz. That's all, really. I'm not
yeah, but I
saying
don't
like
think that like that usually like if the Eagles are 8-1 and they're playing Carson Wentz who's like 5-3, you know what I mean? Like haha, play up the storyline. But I think they're actually in a moment where they really need to just lock in and look just like tunnel vision and figure
yeah,
it out.
no, definitely. But I'm just saying, not from the team's perspective. I'm just saying, from my perspective as a viewer, I want to go up against Wentz. That's all I am saying. So I'm curious if we're
All right,
facing
cool.
Wentz
Well,
or not.
strap some pads up and play some linebacker then if you want to go up against Wentz. You want to go up against Wentz. And
No,
also,
I
while
just want to see the Eagles play Wentz. I don't understand what is
you
so
said you want to go up against
complicated
Wentz, so
about
you better strap your pads up and go against them. Also,
it.
you need to, while I'm gunning you right now, you need to go take some clippers and buzz your head because the Eagles are at a cross points. And last year, you said you would shave your head just like Sirianni did if the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
They
but
won the Super Bowl.
I'm doing
You
the
didn't shave your
opposite right
head.
now. Look how bad my hair looks at the moment.
Yeah, you should
This
just
is
shave it and
worse.
start from square one, like
This
you
is
promised. But
worse than because I'm growing it out. So right now, with how bad it looks, this is actually worse than if I
no
were
one
to shave it.
cares. No one
So
cares.
either way, my hair is suffering through this season.
Yeah,
And in the long run, isn't that really what it's all about?
no, no one cares.
It
But
absolutely is. But we will decide. We will decide because I do deserve to be punished for not actually shaving my head. So we should come up with something there. But the basic story of it is, I was gonna shave my head, and then I thought of a hairstyle I wanted. So now I'm growing my hair out into that instead because that's what I decided to do.
yeah, because that's what grown men do. But I think what the Eagles need to do is establish the run and establish a pass rush. I think that's 2 things. You know how Howie is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know how Howie is. Do you think he's loading up? He's got how many draft picks? Was it 10 in this draft specific? I think it was 20 draft picks in the next
What's
2
that?
years and like 10 this draft or something crazy. Do you think he loads up some of his draft picks and go get some pass rush help? Because they definitely need some pass rush help. I
I
think
think he should. I think he absolutely should, or I think he should go and get a corner. Because I think the secondary needs help. I think either way, I think he just needs some. I think he definitely needs
what
to make
about
a
Denzel
splash at
Ward?
the
The Browns
deadline.
already traded Greg Newsome, one of their corners, in
Yeah,
there.
I would love Denzel Ward. That would be amazing. Give
Who's
up
another?
Keeley and whatever draft pick they
Well,
want
they should have never
and
got
go
rid of.
get Denzel Ward.
They should have just signed
They
Darius
should have never got
Factory.
rid of Isaiah Rodgers. They shouldn't have gotten rid of
Yeah, they should have
Isaiah
kept.
Rodgers.
They should have kept Slayer Rogers. They should have signed Slater a
Yeah,
1-year deal
yeah.
or
I don't
just
know.
paid Rogers the 2 for 15 like he wanted.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this offseason was a little bit mismanaged by Howie. And I've
I don't
seen
think it
some
was
Eagles
mismanaged.
fans
I'm not gonna
online.
say it that way. I'm not gonna say it that way because I think it was the right moves to like try and get guys to progress from within that had potential and cut loose some guys that wanted some extra money, but it just didn't work out specifically.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, whether you could justify the moves how we made this offseason or not, the bottom line is the moves how we made this offseason aren't panning out, right? And what I was going to say next is, I've seen fans online, and I'm not going to say fans, but I saw a fan say this, and I saw him get a good amount of likes. So some fans agreed with it, but somebody's already saying fire Howie. We're already back to that, which is insane. It's like he's not going to have a goated offseason every single year. The guy who's brought us 2 Super Bowls, to just get rid of him is
Fire
the
Howie's
dumbest thing
insane.
I've ever heard of. The dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
What's
Oh, yeah, he
crazy?
had a bad offseason again for the first time in like 5 years, even though they just won the Super Bowl and he's brought us our second Super Bowl ring. Yeah, no, get rid of him. Get rid of it. Like, I think it's so dumb because it's like, even if he had a bad offseason and this year goes poorly, it's like, why is, no matter how great you are, your leash is just one bad year and you're gone?
Well,
It
also,
makes no sense. People are
you
idiots. People are idiots.
you know what his most recent trade that he's getting graded off of that has been horrific is Tank Bigsby. He sucks.
That, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because that's actually a big topic I did want to talk about that I almost forgot about. Not Tank Bigsby specifically, mainly Tank Bigsby. Here's one big part of the problem with this Eagles team that I think is being way overlooked. This Eagles offense almost never has good starting field position. And that's a legitimate problem. That's not like that's not like a nitpicky thing. That's not just finding something extra to be upset about. No, that's a legitimate issue. If you're starting all of your drives within the 15, sometimes the 10, sometimes the 5, if you're starting all of your drives that way, you're setting yourself up for failure. And it's
Remember,
week in and week
remember when
out
we
with
beat
this.
the
It's week in and week out. You
remember when
just
we beat
need
the Rams?
somebody. All you need is somebody just field the kickoff. The kicker kicks the ball. You field the ball. You run with the ball. It's not hard. You have hands. You have feet. You can accomplish these things. You would get just about anybody to do it. But Tank Bigsby, and I don't fully pay attention during every kickoff. I don't know if John Mechie is still fielding kick returns. I don't know if what's his name is still fielding kick returns. But
Well,
if these guys
Will
can't
Shipley
just
also does
simply
it.
field the ball and advance it past the 15, then what are they doing here? And why are we allowing this to continue to happen? It can't keep happening.
Yeah, I think our offensive line and defensive line is not as good as it used to be. Um, and I
Yeah,
think
like
it
those
affects
are the
us both
big
sides of the ball.
issues, the more obvious issues. But this is also a serious issue, in my opinion.
Well, I was gonna say, remember when we beat the Rams and obviously we blocked 2 kicks, but people are like, the special teams won the game, but wait, we also had the special teams completely screw us in that game with the field position, with us not being able to field kicks from Cardi, the Rams kicker, because he kept kicking those squib kicks on us and pinning us inside the 15-yard line every single time. So we couldn't even fully appreciate special teams that day because our kick return team was horrible. So it's been an issue all year, but they've just been having issues. And I think even Vic Fangio, a guy that seemed like untouchable for a little bit of time, I think everybody can get a little bit better. I think it's an issue with everybody right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. Let's talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. I feel like
How you feeling about
I
this
feel like
season?
there's a lot to talk. I mean, not like a lot, but
How you feeling about the season?
I mean, maybe it's because the Phillies and the Eagles have been absolutely shitting the bed. But I think there's some promise with this 76ers team.
Yeah, well, we have the third overall pick that we weren't necessarily the guy that we wanted. We wanted Ace Bailey all along, but this guy's been pretty
And
impressive.
we were so wrong. We were so
Yeah, we were
wrong.
very wrong.
VJ
I'm
Edgecombe is
actually
crazy.
very, very happy that they went with VJ Edgecombe. I'm very happy.
Yeah,
And he looks like an
yeah.
absolute stud in summer
We
league.
can both admit we were wrong when we kept clamoring for Ace Bailey. No, VJ Edgecombe was the guy.
So Jared
And he
McCain
looked
is out to start the season. Joel is probably going to be out to start the season. Also, obviously, news outside of the Sixers, but probably the most important person in the history of basketball. LeBron's also going to be out to start the season as well. And we had some other players. We have Jason Tatum out in the Eastern Conference. Dante, don't forget these things. Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum are out in the Eastern Conference. If the Sixers get some momentum and they get Joel Embiid back, they could actually – or can we go down this road and say, could the Sixers actually go on a run this year? I mean, if we're talking talent-wise, this is one of the most talented teams in Sixers history. Let's be honest.
It is, but it's also one of the most. It's probably
also probably one of the most fragile
It's
teams in the
the
history.
most fragile. Yeah.
Jared McCain is
So,
already out after recovering from the knee.
Jared McCain's already out. Embiid's already out. Paul George is already out. VJ Edgecombe already suffered an injury in the summer league. It's just this team is made of glass, and the guys who aren't made of glass are super old, like Eric Gordon. And I don't know, is Andre Drummond going to see minutes when Embiid gets back? I have no idea. I'm guessing
Kelly Oubre's still on the team. Kyle Lowry's still on the team.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry. I keep forgetting he's still here. How is he still here? How is he still here?
He's not going to be getting minutes, bro. He's just a 15th guy. He's not going to be getting minutes. He's probably just going to.
But it's just crazy that he's still here, though.
He's going to come in to use some fouls.
Is this year 3 or 4? No, this is year 3.
I think it's year 3.
Yeah, it's year 3. It's year 3. But yeah, it's just crazy that he's still here. And it's funny too because we wanted Kyle Lowry in Philly for so long, and then we end up getting him when he's ancient. But you know what? He did well in that first playoffs we had.
I'm saying I'll take Kyle Lowry in a playoff series to go get 3 fouls in 8 minutes and be physical with another team's point guard. I'll take him in that type of role. And then I got Jared McCain, hopefully, and Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey's even not the most durable either. So every player currently on the Sixers that has talent has some form of issues physically with their condition. So just hopefully they can stay healthy because this really, I mean, in recent memory, Dante, the James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid Sixers with Tobias Harris, and also the Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Phil, and Joel Sixers. Those are the last 2 teams that were as talented as this team. If we're going player for player talent wise, up and down the roster.
So I mean, obviously, you look at the
also JJ was on one of those rosters with one of those rosters.
Yeah, I was gonna say obviously you look at the 2017 to 2018, or no, I'm sorry, the 2018 to 2019 Sixers with what we thought was a super team when the deadline was over of Ben, JJ, Butler, Tobias, and Embiid. When that
really crazy
Tobias trade was complete at the deadline, we really we thought it was a lock to make the finals with that roster. So that's one. I also think the team the year before that was very talented just because of all the perimeter shooting they had with Ilyasova, JJ Redick, Bellinelli.
Marco Bellinelli.
I think the team that got the 1 seed and lost to the Hawks in round 2, that's another big talented roster. But yeah, no, I mean this roster talent wise is absolutely stacked. The problem is it's very guard heavy and very fragile. So
I think they're just
I'm curious to see how the season shapes up. And I think they're gonna
I think they're going to play it by ear, see how they do. If they're actually competing, they'll keep the guys like Kelly Oubre and Andre Drummond on the roster for like a playoff run. But if they're in a spot at the trade deadline where it looks like they're not going to compete, they'll trade off some of those guys like that and get ready for the future and maybe even get rid of Paul George and then let VJ Edgecombe ride the rest of those last couple months of the season out and blossom into that star with the young nucleus of like Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey next to him.
Yeah. So, and that's what's going to be fun about this season is there really is no expectations.
And maybe what if like a Dean Bona is like averaging 10 points and getting like 7 rebounds in like 20 minutes? That'd be fire.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what I mean. Like what's going to be fun about this season, which is why I'm like actually looking forward to it, is there's no expectations. However, this is a team that could make a serious run. You don't expect them to because they're so injured.
It's not just
talent-wise, they could do
but
it.
it's not just us saying that.
Your expectations are low, but the ceiling is high.
I know, but it's not just us saying that because of this roster. It's also what the other things that I mentioned with Tyrese Halliburton being out for most of the year this year and Jason Tatum also being out for most of the year this year. It's not
the
just
East
like what the
is kind
Sixers
of wide
have going
open.
on.
The East is pretty open.
Giannis might not even be a Buck for that much longer, and they're kind of a mess too. So, I mean,
yeah, no, season's wide open. Speaking of the East, though, somebody pointed this out online that I think is kind of crazy. With all the years Chris Paul has spent in the league and all the different teams he's been on at this point, he has never gone to the East, which I think is quite interesting.
I'm trying to think of like who's like an NFL player that's like been an AFC exclusive or NFC exclusive, but played for a lot of teams.
Ooh, that is
I'm trying to think, or like an MLB player, AL, NL guy that's like been exclusive to one AL or NL.
This is kind of a stupid example, but just what I'm thinking of off the top of my head. The first guy I think of is James Bradbury. James Bradbury played for just the Panthers, Giants, and Eagles, so not really anything crazy. I would say Hassan Reddick, but he went to the Jets.
Wasn't Josh Norman? Josh Norman was pretty similar to James Bradbury, played for like the same teams.
If Hassan Reddick didn't go to the Jets, I think Hassan Reddick would be a great example. Cardinals.
What about
Panthers,
Juju Smith-Schuster?
Buccaneers.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, he's always been the AFC. Yeah. Huh. What about
Who's
baseball?
a good baseball player example?
Yeah, I was saying that baseball. It would be really funny if I look right now. No, wait, no. Chapman started his career with the Reds.
No, I was gonna. Yeah, he was one of the first I thought about, but he's with the Reds already. Didn't he play for the Pirates for a little bit of time too?
He's been on a lot of teams. Man, who is a guy? It's tough, man. That's what I mean. That's what makes it so crazy about Chris Paul. You can't really think of a guy who's been in the league for a long time, a great player who's played for at least like 4 different teams, and all the teams have been in the same conference. You can't really think of anyone besides Chris Paul.
Hold on, I might have a great example. Hold on.
No, definitely not Mark Cooper.
Hold on one sec. I'm confirming this.
Cooper Kupp, it's only 2 teams, the Rams and the Seahawks.
I was going to say AP, my favorite player of all time, but he did spend that little time with Tennessee. But other than that, he was all NFC.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Adrian Peterson.
Saints, Cardinals, Washington, Lions, Seahawks, but he also
What about T.O.? Wait a minute. What about T.O.?
No, he played for the Bills.
Did he go to the Bills?
Bills and the Bengals.
Oh yeah. Damn, man. Yeah, see, it's tough. It's tough. You can't really think of anybody.
Brandon
It's
Cooks
definitely
played
tough.
for a lot of teams, but he's been on both sides of the conference.
What about no, Ryan Fitzpatrick played for the Buccaneers, but I feel like outside of that, he spent most of his time in the AFC. So no, I can't go with Fitzpatrick either. Yeah, no, I stand by it. Chris Paul's the only real example.
Chris Paul, man, what a guy! What a guy! What are the expectations for the Sixers this year, though? Do you think even like we're not going to try and suspect that they're going to be completely healthy because we know that's not realistic, but what do we think like a normal Sixers season with the talent that they actually have? Do you think like the 6th seed is actually obtainable?
Yeah, yeah, I think realistically, like here's the thing. I think the ceiling is so high and the floor is so low, but realistically, I mean it kind of averages out in the middle there, right? So like anywhere from 6th to 9th seed, I think is most realistic. I could very well see them just being injury riddled all year, like they were last year, and finishing as a bottom team in the East. And I could see some crazy scenario in which they actually stay healthy and are a top 4 seed. I think really like that's the thing. I think like let's say you went to Vegas and oh wait, no, this isn't going to make any sense. Um, forget what I was about to say, but basically, like I think each seed has a possibility of seeing the Philadelphia 76ers there. You know, like and it's not like with the 76ers from 3 years ago. Like the 14 seed was not a possibility. There was no chance of that happening. Anywhere 10 through 14, it's like, yeah, right. The
Do you
Sixers aren't
think
going to
a
be that
Dean
good.
Bona?
And then you look at the process Sixers, and it's like obviously no seed in the run of the playoffs is a possibility. They're going to be a bottom tier
Let me
team no
ask you
matter
this.
what.
Let me ask you this about the current Sixers. Do you think a Dean Bona can have a better year than Gershon Yabusele did last year?
Maybe. I do like Bona, but I am still upset Yabusele is gone. But yeah, I think every single seed 1 through 14, there's a possibility of the Sixers finishing as that seed, which is kind of interesting. I mean, they could finish literally anywhere
How
in
many
the
how
East.
many
And
wins? What would you set the over under wins at if you're Vegas? Do you think they could get
oh,
50?
so let me think. Let me think. So if 500 is 41,
Do you think they
I'm
can
going to
get
say
50?
43 wins. I'm going to
43?
no, I'm going to say 43 if I
43 is
if
not
I
the
were a
6th seed.
betting man.
43 is not going to be the 6th seed, though. The 6th seed is going to be at least like 47, 48.
Yeah, but I think I'm just saying mid 40s.
43
Of
is
course
like they're
50 of course 50 is a possibility. I think there is
I
a
know, I'm just
scenario
telling
in
you.
which they
I'm just
end up
telling
with
you.
60, but
I'm
I
just
think
telling you what the format.
realistically it's
I'm just
probably
telling you
mid
with the
40s.
format of the league that 43 they'll be in the play-in tournament if they have 43 wins. They'll make the
Mm,
play-in tournament, but they will be in it for sure with 43 wins.
yeah, that's why I mean 43 could be a 7 or 8 seed. Um
Yeah, so they'll be playing in the play-in tournament. But fair enough if you think that. I think they can get like
Yeah, I
47,
think that's the
48
thing.
wins.
I think it's going to end up being a mediocre team at the end of the day because the talent is so good, but these guys aren't going to spend all that much time on the court together. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a
Well, I'm just
mediocre
happy
team.
that we have like a true two-way player that I think has so much to room to grow as an
Yeah,
offensive player, but I think he's going to be very impactful as a defensive player, and he's just like a high flyer. And we haven't had like an athletic like wing like since like Andre Iguodala, pretty much.
you
So
know what? Last thing we'll talk about. Do we see him in the dunk contest this year?
that would be so electrifying. That imagine that because isn't the All-Star game for the MLB in Philly?
Yeah.
So imagine if we dominate the All-Star games this year with VJ Edgecombe winning the dunk contest in the NBA, and then we host the All-Star game for the MLB. That'd be awesome for Philadelphia sports, honestly.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nice. And there's just as a general thing, I do love all the big events that are happening in Philly over this course of 3 years. 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years ago, you had WrestleMania in Philly. Now you have the MLB All-Star game coming up in Philly. You have World Cup games coming up in Philly. So,
No
I
one
mean,
cares
we're
about
getting a
soccer.
lot of good stuff.
No one cares
What's
about
that?
soccer. No one cares about soccer.
Huh?
No one cares about soccer.
I can't
No one
even.
cares about soccer.
It's the World Cup. It's the biggest
Come on.
sporting event in the entire world.
No one wants to hear that. We want to talk football americano. You paisana.
Hey! No, because last week I wanted to talk about Union winning the Supporter Shield, and you didn't care. So
Yeah, because I don't care about soccer. I care about football. How's your fantasy football team doing?
So I don't think so. My Elevation 5280 Sports League, I haven't even checked because I don't think they're doing well today. But let me see.
Why'd you say it like that? Why'd you say it like that? Like, I don't think they're doing well today. Like, that's your squad, but you're like removed from them.
Oh, because the reason why is because Michael Pittman did nothing today, and Carter did nothing. But I just checked. I'm currently winning 132 to 101, but I'm projected to lose 141 to 137. So I do have a decent shot here
Oh,
in
it's gonna
this
be a little
game.
nail biter at the end here.
Who do I currently have playing then? Oh, I have I have Xavier Worthy still playing. Okay. And he has Jaden Daniels for Monday night. And he's got DJ Moore for Monday night as well. So I could end up winning and that would be my fourth win in a row in that league. And then in the other league that we're in together on Sleeper, I've also won a few games in a row in that league. And right now I'm in a close game against my boy Josh, where I'm currently winning 126 to 64. He's currently got David Montgomery playing, and then he has Josh Allen Monday night. I am left with the guy from the Commanders, who I don't even know how to say his name, the running back that I like.
Bill?
And I got his McCroskey
Merritt.
Yeah, I have him Monday night as well. So I have two games in fantasy this week. Hopefully, I can win them both. It's not looking good against Josh. And me and Josh and we've just been talking shit to each other all week. So this is a game I want to win, but it's not looking great. But David Montgomery hasn't done anything yet in this game. So if David Montgomery shits the bed and I get a good performance out of Krosky, then he's going to need a big performance from Josh Allen, which is likely, but who knows? So I do still have a chance.
Real quickly before we get out of here, Dante, how'd you actually feel when the Phillies lost in the playoffs? Because you're really a big baseball guy. I love the Phillies too, but you're a huge baseball guy, and this is another year of frustration. How'd you actually feel? Like, what was the?
I'll tell you how I feel. I'll tell you how I feel. I'm not so as upset that they got eliminated. Don't get me wrong, I am. I'm more so upset that ever since the second half of that series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, I have witnessed the Phillies offense continuously do absolutely nothing, and it's like pins and needles. I've seen so many innings of postseason baseball, so many consecutive innings of them just doing nothing on offense. Like it's torture at this point. It's like every time, it's like every game, it's like at least 6 innings in a row where they barely get anyone on base. They don't drive in any runs. And this has been basically 3 playoff series in a row. When you consider, how Was that Montgomery? Shit, I think that was Montgomery.
All right, well, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I'm upset about the Phillies too, but my computer is on
Damn, it was
1%, and I am
Montgomery.
producing the podcast. But thank you guys for tuning in to episode 118 of the Paisan Sports podcast. Hopefully, next week we'll be talking about an Eagles victory, them getting back on track.
All right. I guess I guess his computer actually did die. That's pretty funny. Mid outro. So I'm going to be delivering the outro this time. That's right. This is like when your mom has to work late, either that or I don't know, she's banging her boss and your dad is in charge for the night. You know what I mean? No more strict mom, no more boring old mom. The fun dad is in charge for the night, except really it's just for the outro. And that's what it is here. Let's get Zach out of there. Let's get this. Well, hopefully next week we're going to be talking some good news. Derp, derp, derp. No, get that shit out of here, man. I have no idea where I'm going with this. I don't know what he was about to say, honestly, because it's not like we're going to have. Actually, no, I guess we will be talking. We will be doing the podcast after the Eagles game on Sunday. So, no, hopefully we will have an Eagles win against the Vikings. And here's the thing. If we don't have an Eagles win against the Vikings, I'm going to, I don't want to say anything crazy on the podcast, but I am not going to be doing well if the Eagles lose 3 times in a row. Partially because, when we were up 2 scores against the Broncos, I texted my cousin, this is great. This is the 4th year in a row of having a dominant Eagles team. And they have been mightily outscored ever since I sent that text. So that's the other reason. Have I jinxed the Eagles? Have I screwed them? So they better win. I think I might just keep the podcast going.